All right, my friends, Biggs is on the road. We are still in California, Realm Natura. We're gonna go check out Prehistoric Pets and his Reptile Zoo, the home of Jay Brewer. Now, you guys know me. I'm very, very much a strong advocate of a responsible reptile ownership, responsible reptile keeping. And I want to take a peek here, because some people love them, some people hate them. But regardless of what your thoughts are, this family has done a lot for the reptile keeping hobby, and I want to take a peek at it for myself. Join me. As soon as you walk in the door, you are completely immersed. So we've walked in the storefront area, and the first thing that greets you is this huge pond filled with turtles. Beautiful feature. The water is clear. It's got some giant predatory fish. There's a giant Fractocephalus hemilopterus, the giant red-tailed catfish, iridescent sharks, some pacus, and of course, lots of turtles. The reptiles are what bring us here to the Reptile Zoo. So looking at this giant pond right at the front doors, now the type of glass that you have in your windows, in your house or anywhere, is going to be a normal type of plate glass. Plate glass is designed to reflect UVB rays away. And basically then you're going to have to provide a good proper source of sunshine using D3 bulbs. So these two light bulbs that are on here, at least the one that I can see, that is what you often see as in Zoom Ed. They sell it as the big sun glow bulbs. That's a mercury self-ballasted light that provides heat and vitamin D3 wavelength UVB, which is essential for these guys because they can't absorb calcium without that vitamin. But the problem being is with the size of this environment, sure, you could sit in your breakfast nook and have your Cheerios in the morning, and you might get warm by sitting if the sunshine's coming through the window, but you're not going to get any of that vitamin D3, which is so essential to reptiles. So if this were me, I would probably have a much larger pendant of some sort and a big panel of some D3 lights, especially for the volume of animals that are in here. But most of these animals, I'm assuming, and again, I'm just going out on a limb, but I'm assuming most of these animals would probably be surrenders that call this place home. Where else are you going to see a whole pile, and literally a pile of Sulcata tortoises? Now this is a species, being a responsible reptile keeper, I probably have no doubt that many of these are probably rescues or surrenders that have been brought in, because this is a species that is threatened in the wild, but this is a species in captivity that is overly abundant, and they get too large and they live too long for the average reptile keeper. This is an animal that if you tried to contain it, like this enclosure is built with all this artificial rock, so it's all like a concrete type product, and they've got hay and they've got all their needs being met. But this is an animal in an average home that people eventually are going to give it a full-size bedroom. This is an animal, if it decides to walk through a drywall wall, there's nothing stopping it. It's built like a tank. Here's another big rack of reptiles in the store side. They've got different types of common pet store snakes, like milk snakes and king snakes and ball pythons, western hognose species. That's a species actually illegal to keep because we have the plains hognose, which is a subspecies of the western hognose that's native to Manitoba, so we can't keep them anymore. And we have some chameleons. There's a nice little female panther right there. There's probably another one in here. I don't see it. But the sad reality is there's one up top there. But the sad reality of what we see in the pet trade all too often is some that have perished. And dealing with wild-caught animals, especially something that's going to be on the sales floor, I don't know if I would want to have that front and center. Another blue-tongued skink, a lemon blast, clown ball python. Sad reality is ball pythons is a perfect example of something from when I look at it from a responsible reptile keeping standpoint. Right now, currently on Morph Market, which is the North American leader for sourcing high-quality animals from reptile breeders, but on Morph Market currently right now, there is almost 30,000, that's right, 30,000 bearded or ball pythons available for sale. And to me, many of those, probably 80% of those, will probably never find homes. That is a wild, harvested black tree monitor. It's a very, very expensive animal. It's almost on the verge of extinction in the wild. No, as soon as you walk in the door, the theming of the building is absolutely everywhere, from the rock work, the merchandise, the enclosures. We haven't even really taken a look at any of the specific enclosures, just kind of give you a kind of a rundown of what the feel and sense of the building is. Goes around in many different areas. Well, let's go and take a peek at some of the animals. So here's the first wall. Red-tailed rat snake. Yeah, it's a pretty basic looking enclosure for a red-tailed rat snake. That should work fine. It's got its heat source and everything. This is a hypo hog island boa. Here's an albino tegu lizard. I've never seen an albino tegu lizard before. An old favorite of mine. This is the southern white-lip python, and they are an absolutely breathtaking species. So in this enclosure, we have probably what, a 12-foot reticulated python. I'm just guessing on size there, but it's a large reticulated python. And you guys can see, it's an enclosure. It looks to be, I'm just guessing, it looks to be about 6 feet long by 6 feet wide and maybe 18 inches tall. Everyone can make their own choices, but to me, I think that's far too small for that type of an animal. So here's a bigger enclosure. I love the theming, all this Universal Rocks kind of product. I apologize if that's not the actual brand, but the theming is beautiful. Using the slatted bamboo walls to finish off the features, I think is real nice. These rock features, not only do they provide enrichment for the types of animals, but they also give it a surface for a reptile to be able to, it's abrasive, so they can actually use the surface of this for shedding. This one has a dwarf caiman in it right now. It's got a sign that says it's a restricted species, so they probably have to have special permits as a zoo to be able to have this animal in captivity. This animal's got a nice little pool. It's probably about 6 feet in size. It's a very beautiful animal. So the first ones here is this is Jolly the green iguana, another green iguana, and a Lucy hybrid iguana. But to me, that's an animal that requires, much higher humidity and really, really desires to be climbing up in all the trees. But it's been given a habitat that is probably more likened to an animal that is a land dweller. Here's one of their educational areas where they might put on displays or do videos or talks with the public. Another bearded dragon. We've got about a 10-foot albino Burmese in an enclosure about the size of a 70-gallon tank. And there's one of the monsters. There is Darth Gator, the big male American alligator. And having only seen him on a video, he doesn't really look that big, but this is definitely a very large animal.
There's no soap in there. Let's put another one.
And there's his partner up there in the corner.
These two gators, for the most part, look pretty good, but the enclosure, in my opinion, is rather small. And you think it's, they only have 1 or 2 alligators. No, they have multiple alligators. There was a little juvenile, and this one, I believe, is Coconut, one of their albinos. But then we have something like this. This is an absolutely monster, over-obese anaconda. And it looks like it's in a rather large enclosure until you find out there's 5 or 6 other ones that are cohabitating the same enclosure that's probably 8 feet by 3 or 4 feet tall by maybe 2 or 3 feet wide. But just look at how obese that animal is. There's just piles and piles of these animals on top of each other. This is some sort of, arid type species of tortoise. I don't know it off the top of my head. I'm not a tortoise expert by any means, but they look good. But this cage here, how long was that? Maybe 6 feet with a dog dish, and it had about 7 full-size Dumerals boas in it. I'm sorry, that's not responsible whatsoever. Some beautiful little pair of chuckwallas. There's an arid species. Perfect.
This is a much smaller species, but this is a full-size adult banded rock rattlesnake. That's an absolute monster of a green anaconda, and it appears to be given a cage that looks to be about 8 feet by 3 feet, maybe 2 feet tall. And there is an Asian water monitor, and is not very happy. He looks very angry. He can't shed very well. He needs an environment with a swimming pool more along the size of what those 2 American alligators were in. Now there's an absolutely gorgeous monitor. This is a Bell's Phase lace monitor. What a striking animal. And my most coveted rattlesnake that I want is a nice, beautiful timber, also called in the trade, sometimes called the canebrake. It is gorgeous. One day, my friend, one day. Oh, this place goes everywhere. West African gaboon vipers. And the gaboon viper, regardless of size, has the largest fangs of any venomous snake. A full-grown adult could easily go right through the average human's wrist. 1.5 inches without question. There are definitely snakes that command respect. Shin cobra up front and center.
Come on. Well, we'll definitely go check that out. Thank you, guys.
And this one's been given a cage that looks to be about 8, maybe 9 feet long, 18 inches tall, and maybe 2 feet back. It can barely fold. I'm sorry, but that is not responsible reptile keeping. They're such an incredible animal. And it looks like it's absolutely obese. And a monster eastern diamondback. And these are probably 2 of the long-term resident Asian water monitors, and they are huge. There's a big one up there that is resting. These are probably the ones you'd see more on the channel. And here is another one. Look at the size of this beautiful creature. Some of these bottom enclosures must be things that they're just rebuilding or changing up. Says it's another Asian water monitor cage. Another Asian water monitor cage. He's tearing his whole unit apart. There's styrofoam ripped up all over the place. And, surprise, another Asian water monitor cage. And then above that, this must be the enclosure that they often show Jay in with all the big pile of reticulated pythons. This is a very large unit. It's probably about 6 feet front to back. It's probably about 8 or 10 feet at the back, so this is even going to be even bigger than maybe the other ones I'm going to be building. And at least I can see at least 3. I don't know all the morphs, but some sort of lavender something. Looks like a bit of a tiger retic something. And then there's more the standard, the one I like, the natural color forms. Beautiful, beautiful serpents.
Now below that gigantic enclosure, just to get you an idea, we are only about halfway through this zoo at this point. And this, to me, was incredibly shocking to see. Now again, as I've mentioned many times during the video, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that, you know, a bulk of these, I don't think anybody ever set out and said, hey, let's have 100 Sulcata tortoises, or there's some other different species there, or these ones in this next pen here, not these ones, but the ones beside it, they look like those Aldalabra tortoises, which is, you know, the second largest tortoise next to the Galapagos. Just such incredible animals. But these are, what, 10 foot by 10 foot pens? There's 3 in this one, but
out of those sulcatas, there's got to be 20, 25 more of them, plus those ones in the front. Definitely not responsible reptile keeping. They all look to see me being okay, being a desert species, but I'm sorry. There's been so many things that have just been so incredibly shocking to me, and I'm sure to you as well. Please leave me some comments. This is only part 1. We'll follow up with part 2 a little bit down the road, and you're going to see some other things that are a little bit more shocking. But for today, that's all, my friends. Take care.